So I don't have any preference between city zen and mountain zen. In fact, those two things don't even exist. Wow, it's a beautiful sunny day today. It'd be nice to go on a quiet hike. Now, when you hear this word quiet, what comes to your mind? Is it getting away from the sound of cars and traffic and people talking? Maybe where the birds are chirping, the wind blowing through the trees. Is that true quiet? I'm very curious about that, and I think that's something I want to explore. So in this video, it's going to be a little bit different. If you want to see why that is, come follow me. Well, okay, I'm here in the quiet city of San Jose, California. What are your thoughts so far? Let me know down in the comments. The reason why I'm here is to explore true quiet. Somebody recently asked me about sitting Zen in a mountain temple kind of setting, a quiet, peaceful setting, and sitting Zen in the city. And he wanted to know what my thoughts were about that. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. But before we get into that, I'm going to go get some coffee. So come join me. Nirvana Soul. You know I gotta try that. How you doing, man?
How you doing?
Good so far. Could I get a large hazelnut mocha?
Yeah, they're hot.
Yeah, hot.
Hazelnut mocha.
Thank you very much. People seem to thrive on the energy of the city with all of its lights and sounds. It's a world where diversity flourishes from the mix of cultures and cuisines and experiences. Being outdoors, people experience a longing for peacefulness and connection with nature. By exploring uncharted paths, one feels the burden of this busy life fade away and finds simplicity in the moment. There's a teaching in Zen of the 10 ox-herding pictures. This shows different points of the path of our practice and enlightened nature. The most important is the last picture, which shows one entering back into the ordinary world, not holding on to any experience or situation. We use our experience to help this world. The question is, can this coffee help you enter Nirvana? The coffee is hot and sweet. How you doing?
Good. How's it going?
So far, okay. Can I get the margarita pizza?
Margarita?
Yeah. What's the temperature of that?
Average about 800 Fahrenheit.
Wow, that's a lot.
So yeah, yeah, cooked pizza is like 2 minutes tops.
Oh, that's amazing. That's cool. I'm guessing that's mine. That looks awesome.
Just grab her from the napkin.
Grab her from the napkin.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, come on in. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, so lunch is done. That was very good pizza. I didn't quite finish it, but I'm sure my kids are going to be happy. You know, I was thinking, what is it about the city that stresses people out? Is it all of the sounds, all of the people, the traffic, the hustle and bustle, the pollution? I'm always very curious about this. So I'm going to put this pizza away, find a place to sit down, and share a few words with you. When I first started practicing meditation, I was hoping that meditation could quiet my mind. So I thought in order to do that, I need to find a place that is quiet. I ended up finding a Zen center in Seattle. It wasn't in the city. It wasn't a suburb called Ballard. It was a fairly quiet neighborhood. The Zen center was a small house that had 5 residents living in it. And I would say overall, it was a pretty wonderful place to practice and fairly quiet. I do remember though, one spring day, it was on a Sunday, and it was very quiet outside. And we had the windows open, and the sun was shining through the window. I could feel the breeze touch my skin. And I was thinking, now this is meditation. Finally, I'm going to be able to find some peace and quiet. So the sitting started, and within 5 minutes of the sitting, the next door neighbor dog started to bark really loud. 1 minute, 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes, the whole sitting period, this dog was barking. And I was very frustrated with this. And I was thinking to myself, it's ruining my meditation. This stupid dog barking is ruining my meditation. So after the sitting period, I went to the teacher and asked him about the situation. And I told him that this dog ruined my meditation because the barking was very noisy. And this teacher looked at me and said, "That's very interesting. Is that right?" I'm like, "Of course." It was very loud. I couldn't concentrate. And then this teacher said, "That's very interesting. The dog's bark never said it was noisy." And that really hit my mind. I never heard something quite like that before. The dog's bark never said it was noisy, never said it was quiet. So I thought to myself, well, who makes noisy and who makes quiet? Several months later, I ended up doing a 3-month retreat. And it happened to be in Korea at a temple called Shinwonsa. It was about 3 hours south of Seoul. It was deep in the mountains, very quiet, wonderful place to practice. So I was very happy to be there until I started sitting. When I started sitting, I noticed that even though outside is very quiet, my mind was very noisy. And then I thought about that teaching. Well, who makes quiet and who makes noisy? A couple years after that, I ended up at the Providence Zen Center. Some of you have been there. It's not actually in Providence. It's in a little town called Cumberland. And it's also in the woods. The Zen Center has 50 acres of land, all wooded area, very quiet. And I noticed something when I lived there, that especially in the early morning, that it was so quiet that in the morning that most people were sleeping. So some years after that, I ended up moving to Berkeley, California, the Empty Gate Zen Center. And the Empty Gate Zen Center is very interesting because it's right near a university. And it's also, let's just say, a lot is happening outside of the Zen Center. There's college students who live there, many cars driving by, people having parties at night. So sitting there was interesting. I remember one time during sitting, across the street, these neighbors had geese. They were domestic geese. I'd never heard of that before. And these geese kept honking during the sitting period. And there was one point where I actually appreciated it. Because I remember I was sitting and I was really lost in a dream. And the sound of the geese honking woke me up. And I thought, these geese are very wonderful teachers. There was one retreat where at night we had this neighbor who played the drums. So nighttime sitting, drums start playing really loud. And again, I remember that frustration, like the sound is ruining my meditation. And then I remembered a teaching I heard from Zen Master Sungsong. You can find it in the beginning of the chanting book that we have in the Quantum School of Zen. And he's talking about chanting and he's talking about sound. And what he says is how to practice with sound is you don't hear the sound, you are the sound. So I really tried to use that technique where I wasn't listening to the drums, I was the drums in that moment. And that really changed kind of my perspective about meditation. It helped me let go of this opposites thinking, this dualistic thinking of quiet and noisy. So when this person asked me about sitting Zen in the mountains and sitting Zen in the city, he was asking me about which one I prefer and which one is better. So I'd have to say that sitting meditation in the mountains is no different from sitting Zen in the city. When sitting in the mountains, birds are chirping, the wind is blowing through the trees. When you're sitting Zen in the city, cars are driving by and honking, people are talking. There's really no difference, especially if we become the sound. I do think, though, if you're starting a meditation practice, it's very valuable to find a quiet space. It will really support your practice, especially when you're learning how to meditate. When you're seeing all of your thoughts and feelings, it's a really helpful thing. But I think if you've been practicing for a little while, it's important to get out to the city. If you can find a city meditation center, that's really good. But just go to the city and see how your mind responds. Are you holding some idea about what is quiet, or what is noisy, what is peaceful, what is true calm? Maybe we're holding some idea about a meditation experience. But if we don't touch any of those things, then we become the sounds of the cars going by, the people talking, the sirens screaming, the birds chirping. We become intimate with all of these things. So I don't have any preference between city Zen and mountain Zen. In fact, those two things don't even exist. They're just made up by our own thinking. Because meditation means, can we follow the situation as it's arising in this moment? If we're hindered by outside conditions and situation, if we're holding some idea about quiet, noisy, good or bad, if we're making inside and outside, we just remained trapped in a prison that exists in our own mind. If we want to be free, then just wake up. The wind is blowing through the trees. The birds are chirping. Those are my thoughts for the day. Let me know what you think about this video. Also, have you practiced meditation in the city? I'd love to hear about your experience with that. Okay, everyone, I hope you are all doing well, and I will see you very soon.